Good afternoon. Welcome. I know people are kind of gathering and overflow and things like that, and I appreciate all of us getting to be here together. Kathy just called halftime, which fits really well with the crowd here. This is one of the tallest memorial services I've ever done, so I apologize if you're sitting in front of the centers. I'm the Reverend Nick Cable, and it's an honor to support Kathy and Dan and Peter and Ben and their families as we gather today to remember the life, celebrate the love of Connor Oren. And today will be an opportunity to hold space, ground ourselves with one another, people who knew Connor well, people who knew the brothers differently, Kathy or Dan, people who knew them for a very long time, or maybe have just only recently met them. People who flew all over the country to be here, people who are lifers here in Columbus. And it's such a testament to the love that we have for Connor and for this family, and the love that this community tries to lift up. So I'll try not to say too much because I didn't know Connor, but a lot of loving family and friends are here today to celebrate him. Also, after the service, you'll have a chance, if you didn't get to go through the receiving line, to still do so. So don't feel like you have to leave. You can stick around and still talk to the family. With that, I'm going to welcome up Gerardo, who will ground us in a time of meditation.
Let's take a moment to just be together in love for Connor with the Nerney and Oren families and Connor's loved ones. Let's take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. Feel free to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel the presence of the people here. Collectively, we hold a sudden and heavy weight. We share this breath together right now. Now visualize Connor's light and warmth in the center of your chest. As you take another deep breath, imagine Connor's light filling your chest and abdomen. As you exhale, the light expands beyond your body. With each breath, the light grows and reaches the people near you. As we breathe, our lights connect. Connor has woven us together. Take a grounding breath. Softly open your eyes. Gently bring your awareness back to this physical space around you, full of loved ones. As we carry Connor forward, we carry him together as a community. Together, we are Connor. The hurt and the pain are here. The wound is now unavoidable. But we may need to intentionally create space for joy, for healing, for appreciation for the time we had together with Connor. However we feel is valid, we are in this together. Together we radiate Connor's light. Now Connor's good friend Jonathan is going to share some words.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jonathan. I grew up with Connor. We became friends in elementary school at St. B's as part of a rare kind of childhood friend group, one that somehow lasted through middle school, high school, college, moves across the country, and into adulthood. 26 years later, we were still friends. Put simply, Connor was one of my closest and longest friends. As I wrote this and thought about the things I wanted to tell you all about Connor, I kept coming back to the conclusion that he was a man of contradictions. Connor was insanely smart. During COVID, a group of us went down to Panama City Beach to work from home and ride out some of the pandemic restrictions near the beach. At the time, Connor was working as an engineer at Cummins, and they simply couldn't give him enough work to keep his mind busy. He would finish assignments weeks ahead of schedule and had accumulated by far the most volunteer hours on his team. And yet, he was still so bored that he would play Xbox while working from home. In fact, Connor was playing Xbox in Panama City on the phone with his boss when his boss offered him a promotion. But Connor could also occasionally be incredibly dumb, because during that same conversation, he quit. He wanted to travel. The only problem was that he had chosen the beginning of a global pandemic with worldwide travel restrictions to pursue that dream. In all seriousness, though, that decision said something about him. Connor was willing to walk away from the safe or expected path if he thought there was more of life to experience. Connor was also a natural leader. After our group of friends moved away from Indianapolis, the guys began taking annual backpacking trips. Connor was by far the strongest hiker. I was by far the worst. But Connor never made me feel bad about that. Instead of racing ahead, he would walk behind me. I assume partly to keep himself from getting too far ahead, but probably also to keep an eye on me. When I struggled, he offered to carry my pack. During one freezing snowstorm, he gave me his gloves, claiming that he was too warm. But he could also be incredibly careless. When he planned our trip through the Italian Alps, we were hiking from cabin to cabin without tents. Connor somehow booked us multiple nights at one cabin and devised a plan that required us to hike 28 miles in a single day. He knew exactly how bad I was at hiking. Apparently, he didn't factor that information into his planning. He was a bastion of strength and reliability who seemed unfazed by almost anything. Against mountains and wildlife, he was fearless, and if something wasn't difficult enough, he would find a way to make it harder. Like hiking 28 miles in one day, for instance, or waiting until the last second to pack food, or hiking with a broken backpack. Even as a kid, he would pick up snakes in his backyard and remain completely calm even after they would bite him. And yet, for someone so physically strong, Connor could also be remarkably gentle. He was an emotional support to the people around him. He seemed so content and jovial when he saw you, greeting you with those insanely long arms held wide for one of his clasping bear hugs. He could make you feel protected without making you feel weak. But we also saw moments of intense sadness and anger in Connor, often in response to injustice. He cared deeply about people. He was a constant voice for inclusion and compassion. And when he believed someone was being treated unfairly, he felt it intensely. The more I think about it, the more I realize these things weren't really contradictions at all. The intelligence and the ridiculous decisions, the fearlessness and the gentleness, the strength and the sadness, the ability to charge ahead of everyone else, and the choice to slow down and walk behind a struggling friend. They were all Connor. And I think that last image is the one I'll carry with me. Connor could have walked faster, he could have gone ahead, but instead he stayed behind with me. He carried some of the weight when I needed him to. He gave me his gloves when I was cold, and somehow he managed to convince me that he didn't need them. I find myself feeling a lot of contradictions now, too. I'm incredibly grateful that I got 26 years with Connor, and angry that I won't get more. I'm grateful for every trip, every ridiculous story, every bear hug, and devastated knowing there won't be another one. I'm sad that he's gone, but so incredibly lucky that he was here. And I think those of us who love Connor can honor him by doing for each other what he so often did for us. Carry some of the weight, stay beside the person who is struggling, give away the gloves, even when you might be cold yourself. And every once in a while, make a spectacularly questionable decision in pursuit of an adventure. Connor, I love you, I miss you, and I'm grateful beyond words that for so much of my life, I got to walk alongside you. I think Emily is going to talk next.
My name's Emily, and I'm the cousin that Connor sort of just got stuck palling around with as kids that just couldn't seem to shake into adulthood. It started with our birthday celebrations, with both of our siblings having birthdays in January and February. We got stuck celebrating together despite the fact his was July and mine was September. All of those birthday celebrations led to a bond between us. As kids, we spent many hours building block towers, locking ourselves in the dog's cage for whatever reason, and exploring the woods behind Grandma and Grandpa's house. Through everyone's memories, everyone's noted Connor's quick wit and sense of humor, and he got that started pretty early, as one of our favorite things to do was to have sleepovers in the game room at Grandma and Grandpa's, and he learned very quickly which jokes would make us laugh and which ones would land him in hot water with our grandpa. Connor's always had an adventurous spirit, and that showed up in our childhood as he was always up for anything, even allowing my sisters and I to dress him in a tutu. Oddly enough, it's not the only time I've seen him in a pink dress, as he went to Halloween party dressed as Princess Peach a few years ago, and there's some photos of it if you want to watch the slideshow. As we got older, our time together shifted to going for runs, where we'd actually walk and talk, and then quick run at the end to get sweaty so nobody would be suspicious of us. We spent time playing board games and many hours playing Battlefront in the basement, where Connor would order my sisters and I around and ban us from using specific characters or weapons so he could use them. One year, Connor brought the game out to Colorado, and we played together and quickly realized literally nothing had changed, as Connor still told me exactly what to do and I followed blindly. Luckily for me, when cousin relationships can drift apart into adulthood, I just got stronger, as Connor and I both moved out to Colorado. I had been there for about a year and let him crash on my couch for a week to interview for jobs. During that week, we decided to binge some scary Netflix series, and anytime one of the three of us would leave the apartment, we'd yell, "Do not watch an episode without me." And then we'd all gather again in the evening to watch whatever episode it was. Connor easily landed a job, moved into an open room at my friend's house, and immediately became not only one of my best friends, but my husband Joe's as well. I knew their friendship was real when I walked into Connor's backyard and found them both neck deep in a 3-foot deep inflatable hot tub with lukewarm water, giggling to each other. Watching the two of them become so close was and always will be one of my greatest joys. The three of us just got to do life together in Colorado. We even bought an RV together, which after 2 blown tires, hours on the side of the highway, and a really sketchy tow truck trip, we realized it was not a great investment. We got to go on so many ski trips with him and watch him tomahawk down the mountain, literally board overhead. I had to pull him across so many flat lands because he thought snowboarding was cooler than skiing, and with our size difference, you could imagine it didn't go very well. We had countless game nights, hikes, runs, camping trips, and $4 margarita nights. Through all of our time together, Connor taught me to assume the best in people, as he always did. He taught me to never say no to an adventure, to laugh and love freely, and that there is in fact another person who understands all of Joe's jokes and will laugh at every single one of them. Connor was the best of us, bringing an infectious joy wherever he went, loving those around him, and working to make the world a better place. it would often irritate me just how nice he was, especially when we were on a rock climbing trip and I wanted to leave and he always had to help one more person. Or when I wanted to do something and he couldn't come because he was fixing an old lady's fence. But that was just who Connor was. He loved those around him so well, and I am eternally grateful to have been on the receiving end of that love for so many years. I love him and miss him endlessly, but will do my best to carry on his adventurous spirit and loving those around me like Connor did.
This room is packed. This is amazing. Thank you all for being here. Can you hear me okay? Connor was my little brother, but in adulthood he became bigger and stronger than me. He was better at basketball as much as it pains me to admit it. Last Thanksgiving, he bruised my rib playing one-on-one, but I figure I deserved it for all the brotherly torment he endured as the youngest child. As adults, we came to know each other as friends and occasionally teammates on the basketball court, which is one of the greatest pure joys I've known in life. Was it fair for all three of us to be on the same team, being as tall as we are? Who cares? In childhood, we built forts in the woods, had mud fights, played split-screen Halo, turned sticks into swords to play Lord of the Rings. We suffered together in the hot summer sun, weeding the family garden. He hated the sun and burned dangerously fast. His knees turned purple on a canoe trip in Canada. On beach days as a child, the sun was too bright. In high school, he carried on the environmental club that I helped to start, cleaning up the rivers as part of the Environmental Boating Brigade. In the wood strip canoe we built with our dad for that purpose. There's something about having a brother that's like knowing another version of yourself. The same genes rearranged in a different way. Raised in the same household, but at a different time. Hugging my brothers feels like hugging more athletic versions of myself. We were born to a pair of engineers who met at Purdue playing volleyball. I was lined up to become an engineer in high school, but bucked that expectation or hope and became the black sheep. Connor became the engineer that I was supposed to become. He was the white sheep. The yang to my yin, if you will. The more social, more loyal, more excited brother. He was the sultan of superlatives. I'll carry Connor's light with me forever.
Thank you all for being here.
Connor lit up every space he walked into. He exuded excitement, joy, and an anticipation for life that was infectious. I'll always remember him as a little boy, with his big blue eyes and sun-bleached bowl cut, getting so excited he had to flap his arms to let it out. He was obsessed with construction equipment, shouting out the names of everything as we passed. He was always so excited to do whatever the big kids were doing, whether we were playing in the woods, riding bikes around the neighborhood, trying to launch ourselves over the wake behind the maze ski boat. Connor was in. It's a cliche sometimes after someone dies to say, their smile lit up a room. But shit, Connor actually did that. He'd walk in and tell us a story, usually with his hands, about how the exciting new project was at work, the adventure he'd just been on with his friends, the student he'd just been tutoring, or the new skill that he was mastering. And there was a really long list of those. Connor laughed easily and often. He'd love to make everyone laugh with his quick quips and sarcastic, dry humor. Often, he was so fast that you didn't realize you'd been zinged. and had to re-enter the room with a, "Hey, wait a second." Connor was super smart. As a boy who had a hard time sleeping, he would stay up devising math problems to help his mind settle. He grew up inspired by our dad's stories of swooping in to save the day with some engineering wizardry at Cummins. He'd strive to emulate the good that our mom did in the community to bring everyone together and leave it better than she found it. Connor combined these two examples with his innate math skills and got to work. He was all in on continuing the family lineage of becoming an engineer, although the choice of Kentucky over Purdue may have caused a little heartburn. In high school, as many of you know, juniors would make cardboard boats for our physics projects. The assignment: build something structurally sound, measure the water displacement of both teammates, and then race the boats in the swimming pool for extra credit. My year, my partner and I activated the Dr. Dan cheat code. We got all our calculations perfect and won the race in a full-size racing canoe. To Connor and his partner Jonathan, that was blasphemous. They also made a full-size canoe. They also got their calculations perfect, and they also won their race, but did it all on their own and definitely learned a few things that I might have missed. As an adult, Connor continued to love education. He tutored high school and college students in physics and math, and he was a mentor to a student in my wife's senior class. One student he worked with shared that he had helped them go from scoring 30s on her tests to getting A's and B's. And she shared that, dare I say it, Connor made physics fun. Connor made his community and the world a better place. As kids, we grew up taking canoe trips on the East Jordan River in northern Michigan and spent the whole time collecting cans from the river bottom. Connor's bright eyes were the best at spotting the shiny cans. We'd fill the canoe up to the gunnels and then exchange the cans for ice cream money. We'd stand around the parking lot slurping our ice cream, still dripping wet and sandy from the river, with tired grins on our face, content from another great day as a family on the river. It should then come as no surprise that his high school senior project was pulling tires out of the White River with a canoe. He tallied at least 2 boatloads and almost swamped the canoe before giving up. Connor continued giving back in Colorado and would frequently have to run off from weekend brunch to attend volunteer events, help the elderly, or give blood. He always said his blood type was B positive. Connor loved his family. He was a cousin, a nephew, a grandson, an uncle, a brother, and a son. My lasting memories of him will be from the dinner table, the holiday gatherings, the weddings, and the birthdays. He will be most missed there as well. Connor organized a family reunion, attended every wedding, and went to the Porkies in Canada with the family whenever he could. He was an amazing brother. He wanted so badly to kick our asses at everything. He wanted to be taller, stronger, smarter, funnier, better at basketball. All the things. On basically all of those counts, he succeeded. But he was somehow able to balance that burning little brother fury with unbridled support, enthusiasm, and admiration for his brothers and his sister-in-law. From promoting Peter's music and woodworking, to gassing me up about work and sharing every picture and story about my girls, we knew Connor had our backs. He wanted a family of his own, and he took his role as uncle to my girls very seriously. Our girls adored him. Our dog adored him. He went from holding our firstborn Isabel, then a quite chunky and rather sturdy 6-month-old, like a fine crystal that could shatter at any moment, to then confidently holding our tiny 5-pound preemie Maddie. Everyone was excited for him to come over. The girls would bound around the house, cheering upon the arrival of Uncle Connor, who they had dubbed Uncle Broski. How many minutes until Uncle Broski gets here? He supported them and loved them, taking them on bike rides, playing with them on the beaches in Michigan. He showed up for Saturday soccer and took them to the climbing gym. Now, while I've plagiarized a lot of this from Kelsey already, I wanted to share some thoughts that she wrote because I think it captures this really well. She says, "I've been thinking about this poem a lot by Mary Oliver. In my sleep I dream this poem. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. I don't know where he is, why he isn't here anymore. He was such a beautiful person. I don't think that a day will go by that we won't miss him and wish we could share in this life with him. My only hope is that the darkness of these moments will serve as a critical reminder of the fragility and preciousness of our time here. That happiness is fleeting, sadness, frustration, fear, excitement. These emotions come and go. However, joy is a deep well, unperturbed by circumstances and enriched by grief. We grieve because we loved, and then may we love deeper and with intention. Connor, your life was too short, but it was not a waste. I see your face in Maddie's silly smiles and Isabel's quiet determination. Thank you for allowing my girls and me to be part of your world and feel your love. We will miss you forever and keep your memory alive in every hike, bike ride, and giggle. We love you." To close, I think it's only fitting to share some words from Tolkien. "In sorrow we must go, but not in despair. Behold, we are not bound forever to the circles of the world, and beyond them is more than memory."
Another poem for all of us by Maya Angelou. When Great Trees Fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, he existed. Connor existed. We can be and be better, for Connor existed. Connor still exists in us.
Just invite you to take another deep breath and hold in this room all the love and laughter, the tears, and that deep joy, and wish upon yourselves and one another an emerging peace. As you continue to grieve the loss of Connor, may you find opportunities to turn to one another and offer not unspoken words, but spoken words, that you love one another, that this community was brought together today because of our love for Connor, and over the years and memories that have been behind us. Now, all of you have the opportunity to share those spoken words to one another, that you love one another, and that you can live in such a way that Connor's light and life will never be wasted. Never be wasted. I invite you to go in peace today, to stick around if you'd like to talk with the family more, and to hold in your heart the love you feel for Connor today and always. May it be so, and amen.